Good evening everyone, welcome back to the Dark Souls 2 livestream series, and we are back here in Heidi's Tower of Flame. I do not recall having died enough to lose that much of my health, but apparently I did, and I'll probably fix that momentarily. I'm just considering whether or not... No, I will want to summon for No Man's Wharf. I'll summon Lucatiel for that. But anyway... We, of course, in the previous video, started the build. We took ourselves through the Forest of Fallen Giants, killed the last giant, the Pursuer, and the Dragon Rider boss. So, well, bosses, because I've mentioned more than one. Which means that we managed to get 3 bosses killed in one recording, which is fairly good, I would say. I'm just going to get my Twitch chat up, and then we will... see how we can progress from here. I truly hate you, Twitch. I hate you with every fiber of my being. You are just fucking useless. Just a terrible app. Alright. One day I'll have to have a separate video capture for my phone so that you can see me struggling with the terrible app. Because it's awful. It's an embarrassment. Anyway. Aside from that frustration, I think I will actually talk to this woman because one thing that's worth mentioning is that the first recording didn't really feel very faith-like. This is a faith build, but it's starting out almost as a standard build because I haven't been making use of my faith stat in terms of damage bonuses for weapons or anything along those lines, and I also haven't been using miracles at all. I have not made use of heal even, well, maybe I used it once, but yeah, like I said in the previous video, I don't really use heal miracles, but that's what you get at the start of the game. Let's see if there's anything offensive from this woman that I can purchase. We've already got this chime. This is exactly what we've got at the moment. We've got some better healing miracles than what we currently have. I'm tempted to purchase Homewood, but as useful as it is, it may not be worth spending 2,400 souls on it now because you can see it has a faith requirement of 18. And I do not have 18 faith. I think I have about 15, don't I? Let's have a look.
No.
I do have a need for miracles. It's just that I would like to check to see how much faith I have. I was correct in my assumption that it was 15, which means that I really could just buy Homewood because I think I'll level my faith up to 18. Momentarily, but I think I would like Lightning Spear. Once again, I want some offensive capability with my miracles, so I think I'll prioritize Lightning Spear. Homewood is particularly good in this game because Homewood bones are not as easy to come by here as they are in Dark Souls. Part of the reason why is because you do have the ability to warp between bonfires, which means that it is easier to get around in general. So they decide that you don't really need to use Homewood Bones strategically in the same way that you would in the game that preceded this one here in Dark Souls 2, because you can warp around the place. What I mean by strategically using Homewood Bones is, if you're going back and forth between places, a good thing to do in the first Dark Souls would be to rest at a bonfire that you're going to return to in the future, and then go in some direction and then Homewood Bone to go all the way back to a place that you want to return to, and then in so doing you avoid resting at bonfires so that the Homewood Bone can function in that way. It is expected, I think, that you do that, and so Homewood Bones are in, I'm not going to say abundant supply, but you do get more of them there than you do here. So what this is all leading up to, the point that I'm trying to make is that the Homewood Miracle is very helpful here in this game. In the sense that you don't get many Homewood Bones. I don't know. There was a slight error in my logic in what I just said, but that's okay. The error being that I was just explaining that there is less of a need for Homewood Bones because you don't need them as much. Well, that was a repetitive way for me to... or a redundant way for me to explain that. Doesn't matter. I think I've made my point, and I'm not going to dwell on it further. I'm going to travel to Majula to level up, and also to give Sublime Bone Dust to the Emerald Herald. Oh no, I burn it at Majula, I think, yeah. I don't think I can burn it at any bonfire, I think it has to be the Majula bonfire. So, cast them into the Farfire in Majula to increase the HP restored with each use of your flask. So yes, it is specifically the Majula bonfire that can be used to increase your Estus Flask efficacy. Alright, come on. Let's speak with the Emerald Herald once I have consumed these souls. Now, the Dragon Rider soul, there is a temptation to just consume it now, and the reason is that, or the reason why is that we do fight the Dragon Rider again in the future, so if you end up consuming the soul now, and you really need one of his weapons, for example, you will be able to get it later on. And of course there is such a thing as bonfire ascetics, so with that taken into consideration, I'm going to use this soul now. And then I'll consume these as well. So of course the relevance of bonfire ascetics in what I was just mentioning is that if I really, really need a soul from any boss that I've already killed, I can just turn the bonfire that links directly to that boss to New Game Plus level, and at that point I can re-engage and kill the boss at New Game Plus level. Usually not as difficult as it sounds. It may sound as if it's totally unreasonable to expect that a person at New Game level can then go and fight the New Game Plus version of the boss and succeed, but it's actually not that hard at all. It's the general enemies that are more difficult when you go into New Game Plus. The bosses themselves don't become that much more difficult, which was something that I really didn't realize until I played this game, unless it is unique to this particular game where bosses do not have as steep of a difficulty increase as you go through the levels of New Game, with the understanding that people might be making use of bonfire ascetics, and therefore probably don't deserve to be beaten in the ground when they do. Not too sure, I never looked into it deeply, so that's an interesting topic, I suppose, to investigate or perhaps inform oneself about, because I'm sure someone's looked into it. Between the release of the game and today. Alright. So, I'm not going to consume the soul of the Pursuer, because I think I'll need it soon. But, yeah, we're currently sitting on 19,831 souls. We'll see what we can actually get out of it. So, obviously haha, that'd be about right, wouldn't it? I need 22 faith to be able to use Lightning Spear. And I'm sitting on 21 at the moment. Well, that's okay. I won't have to wait too long to be able to use Lightning Spear, that's the point. It's just a little disappointing to not be able to use it immediately. I will equip it. We'll see how many... looks like I've only got one slot at the moment. So they have told me that I have insufficient attributes to be able to use this miracle, but it didn't prevent me from equipping it. It may seem strange to equip it if I can't use it, but the reality is that I'm not going to be using my heal miracle either, so there you go. I'm not too sure if Lightning Spear was Omega broken in this game as you describe it. I also don't know if you're suggesting that it had been patched out by speaking in the past tense, or if you're just saying, you know, it was something established in the past, but still remains the case. I really don't remember. Lightning Spear likely is strong, but it's probably not this particular one. There's probably a later upgrade that was better for the endgame. I just don't remember, Tal. I wish I could illuminate that aspect of your memory, or, you know, expand upon it and give you an answer that you're looking for. I just don't remember anything relating to Lightning Spear and overpowered spells or faith-based offensive magic. So, yeah. Let's move on to No Man's Wharf. I should mention that the mace is likely going to continue to be used, just because it's easy. I mean, it's dealing decent damage. I'm successfully tolerating the limited range of this mace, so I may as well just keep using it until I have an alternative. Oh, look at, see, this is what I'm talking about. That's crazy good damage. So why would I change weapons at this point? The only reason why I would change weapons was out of some desire to use something different if I were worried that this was getting boring to watch. Or if I was really, really getting sick of the lack of range. But quite frankly, I can deal with it in return for damage like that. Very strong. I am two-handing it because I actually don't really feel like using a shield. I could, but this only has... Oh, that's right. If I want to get myself to 16 strength, I can use the Drangleic shield. To be honest, I probably should. I'm only 1 point of strength away. We'll keep two-handing this mace for now, because we are getting a lot of damage out of it. Two-handed, no doubt. But once it is convenient to do so, I will level up my strength and faith, 1 point each, and then I'll pretty much have a different setup than I had previously, which is effectively one-handed with a shield and ranged offensive miracles. So that'll be interesting. 2 level ups away from a major change in the build. Maybe not a major change, but a noticeable one. We just picked up the Old Knight's Halberd. Now, the reason why I wouldn't bother picking this up, getting excited, equipping it, and then having your build based around it is because there's a very important stat that this weapon is lacking in, and that is durability. It has 20 durability. So, where is my mace? My mace has 60 durability versus this halberd's 20. Now, I should say that this halberd is lovely. The range is beautiful. Look at that. Mwah. Lovely weapon. And I won't deny, first time I played this game, I definitely went and started building my dexterity build, which it was at that time, around this halberd. First time I played the game. Because I didn't actually notice that the durability stat was so poor, and I became very frustrated by how, I suppose, to start with, poor the durability was, and then second of all, how difficult it was to actually get repair powder in this game. Because you can actually repair your weapons by resting at a bonfire, repair powder is hard to come by. Very much so. May as well heal up. It feels like a little bit of a waste, because I think with +1 Estus Flasks I'd be able to take a little bit more damage and still be able to fully heal. But I'm playing it safe instead. Yeah, you're right, Tal. The range of that halberd is noticeably helpful in confrontation scenarios. It's not even close to... I mean, the range aspect of my mace right now is actually really debilitating. You've probably been able to see it so far, with me swinging my weapon, seemingly being in range, and then it just misses the enemy because the range is so bad and inconsistent. Or perhaps it's consistent, but its consistency is in the fact that it's bad, not anything else. So, yeah, as tempting as it is to have that greater range with the halberd, it doesn't suit my build right now, because I don't have that kind of dexterity, and furthermore, it's not going to have any durability when I actually try to make use of it. It will be annoying. I can attest to the annoyance factor. That is, attesting to its existence. Alright. Can you just let me out of here? Right, so you have to step off the switch plate to actually be let off the elevator. So for those who are unaware, we are making our way to a place called No Man's Wharf. That's why there's a lot of water flowing through here. It's because there is a water source up ahead. Maybe not a water source, but there is water. There's a lake, or a river, or something along those lines. And that's the entrance to it over there. We'll go there soon, but there is a little bit more to explore inside this building. So we may as well sniff around and see if there's anything worthwhile. Possibly hiding in a chest, if I remember correctly. And it's also good to fight the enemies in the area. Gives you more souls to work with. For some reason, this door is simply for show, or rather it's not something you can interact with. It's just a visual door that's broken. I can probably think of better ways to describe that, but I'm sure you can get your head around what I was trying to get across. It is the full knight set inside that chest, which is probably quite helpful because I have not actually equipped anything else up until this point. We do have the Dranglaic set, which actually is considerably better than the knight set, but also considerably heavier. Might equip the knight gauntlets here. I want to be able to fast roll still, and I can. How fast rolling works in this game is that it's not so much the speed of your roll that will be affected by weight. It's actually the distance that you roll when you do perform a roll. There is, I think, a fat roll, but I have a distinct feeling that even then it's still the same animation, it's just you roll a shorter distance. So, yeah, I think I'm going to wear this knight helm, that should be fine. Yep, I'm happy with that. I think we just went that way, yes. And that was likely a message relating to the fact that you can't get through the door. I think we can imagine roughly what it would say. It would be comical, and whether or not it would actually be funny is something we're not going to find out because I'm not going to check the message. This says dark ahead, which is probably true. You can actually lighten the area by using an item called a Pharos Lockstone, which I suppose there's a bit of an explanation attached to or that needs to be attached to that item if you don't know what it is, but I couldn't really be bothered explaining it right now. When I pick one up or when I'm going to use one, I'll talk about it more. But basically, if you use a Pharos Lockstone on a particular weird Pharaoh's face, I don't really know how it works, or rather how it can be referred to. I suppose a Pharos lock. You put the lockstone into the lock and then it will do something in the area. In the case of No Man's Wharf, it will light some torches that are hanging overhead.
What is it? I don't know you, and you don't know me.
Yes, the iframes do change, Tal, with the different roll speeds, or roll distances. At least I believe so. I could be remembering that wrong, but I'm quite sure it's both distance and iframes that changes.
Keep a safe distance. I'm called Lucatil, from the land of Mira to the
But it's not going to affect it terribly.
mountains. They say Drang Lake brims with powerful soul, and so I... You are... Well, I don't hesitate to call.
So, she just said at the end there, don't hesitate to call upon me, which is to say that we're now friends because I was chatting with her, and if I want to summon her for the boss, I can, and I certainly will, because while this upcoming boss is not all that difficult, it's always nice to have a bit of assistance. The Flexile Sentry is the next boss, and you can actually make use of a pillar that exists in the middle of the boss room to separate yourself from the boss a little bit. It allows a momentary reprieve if you're under considerable pressure, like you need to heal and you're almost dead and the thing's attacking you. Well, you've got that big pillar, wooden pylon pillar, I don't know what you want to call it. Anyway. I don't need to describe it, because you will see it soon enough. Particularly with my damage here in this build. I don't think I really need Lucatil, but I believe that I need to summon her. No, I don't think I need to summon her, I just need to talk to her in all of her locations to be able to progress her story. Summoning her is not a requirement. But I do definitely want her for the Smelter Demon, I think it's called. Because I don't like the Smelter Demon. I do generally summon her for it. I can definitely solo it, because I have done it many times in the past. I've been very lazy with Lucatiel in the past. But it just helps to not have to do that. I have 7 human effigies. You better believe I'll be using one soon. But for now, I'm going to level up once. I think I would rather have the ability to use lightning spears than to shield, so I will allocate one of my game-changing or build-changing stat points to Faith, and now I'll actually be able to use lightning spear. Let's have a look at our casting speed. Not too bad at all. Definitely can't complain about that. There is a fellow over this way that we can buy things from. I didn't actually speak to him at all in the previous video. He's quite funny because the more you buy from him, the richer he becomes, and I think he starts to sell better stuff, and he becomes more self-confident as well. And possibly becomes a little arrogant as well. In fact, definitely. I'm going to consume a human effigy, because I don't anticipate that I will die in the No Man's Wharf location. Is that hubristic of me to say? No, I don't think so. I genuinely don't expect to have a problem in No Man's Wharf with this damage. As long as I'm being sensible with how I approach the area, it'll be fine. Oh no, I think that's Scholar of the First Sin where there's an enemy there. There's an enemy just hanging off the edge, just waiting to ambush you. I'm going to take on the Vangarian first. Oof! Ran out of stamina. That was a bit foolish. I am playing very stupidly. I like how the Vangarian is hanging back. I actually don't like it. It's just my way of saying that I'm taking note of it, and it bothers me slightly. So this one here actually was hanging on the edge of the bridge, about here. But in Scholar of the First Sin, there's an additional one there, which is very annoying. I will actually use a life gem. I don't feel like using an Estus Flask so early on. I don't know why I approached the confrontation with these 3 enemies in such an ill-considered way. I didn't think ahead at all. I just ran in and swung my weapon around. I know I can get away with it, but I still perhaps need to be a little more careful with what I'm doing. Yep, managed to kill him with the strong attack. Let's get out of the range of the enemy. Let him do his little swinging maneuvers. There is an enemy over that way that you can probably see in the dark. The reason why he's not engaging me is because I'm standing near the light. These creatures are afraid of light, but that's not too much of an issue for... Whoa, God. As soon as I was going for a ranged attack, he jumped at me. God, I'm sure he's designed to do that. Oh, there's a bit of range to you. He can also cause bleed, so don't let him hit you too many times. Obviously, bleed build up once it reaches reaches the end of its build-up bar, will deal heavy damage to you. It's a single moment of lost health, which usually is, let's say 30% of your health bar, maybe a little more. That direction there is optional. You don't need to go that way, so I won't. I'll engage this guy instead. He's throwing firebombs at me, which I don't especially appreciate. I know that your friend is there. Oh my god, I was not expecting that kind of attempt to pursue me. He got really, really aggressive really suddenly. Still managed to kill him through his shield, fortunately. There's the one that came at me from the side. This one really wasn't so much of a concern. It was the guy that I had started fighting who suddenly... he was filled with inspiration and just launched himself at me. I don't know what happened. Maybe my character said something under her breath. I really don't know. Whatever it was, it must have been exceedingly offensive. I think Gavlan's in here. It's down here, maybe? No, maybe I'm getting confused with something else. See, Scholar of the First Sin moved Gavlan's position. I think he was moved to somewhere in here. Who knows? We will find out. Or perhaps we won't. Yeah, I think it was in Scholar of the First Sin where he was moved into one of these buildings. That seems to be the case. Well, I have no reason to believe that, but based on my memories, I'm quite sure Gavlan's going to be where I thought he was going to be initially. But you see, I've reached the point where it's been so long since I played the original version that in certain cases I'm not sure if I'm remembering something that happened in Scholar of the First Sin or in the original version, which is very annoying. I know what has changed, but sometimes I don't know precisely which version was what. So, yeah, it gets very frustrating. I can light a torch here if I want, and I do think I have a torch. Your torches actually accumulate into a larger number, like a longer duration of torch effectiveness, which is interesting. So, because I've got the torch in hand here, I can probably more easily fight these enemies. They're making really creepy noises at the moment. I'm one-handing my weapon, but with the strong attack you can see that it's still dealing lots of damage. With this torch in hand, those enemies will have a hard time returning fire, so to speak. To be honest, I'd almost rather fight them normally so that I don't have to hear them making these awful noises. Managed to get a long sword there. Not that it's very interesting. I'm much more interested in my lovely mace. He actually went for the attack there. That just shows that they do attack. It's not like they cannot. I think there's more than one in there, so I'm going to be nice and careful. Yeah, there is more than one. Whoa! Forgot that he could destroy the door there. You guys seem a little bit more capable of handling me with my torch. Maybe it's just because it's darker in there generally. Oh, you can see my bleed is building up quite awfully right now, and I just suffered the effects of bleeding. Can you please start moving? For goodness sake. I'm starting to feel like I have a real lack of stamina, so I'm going to have to increase my endurance soon. Or is it? Yeah, I think it's endurance still in Dark Souls 2 that increases your stamina. It should be. If it's not, then I'm at this moment confused, but that's alright. I thought I pressed the button to roll, but obviously I was still in the middle of my previous animation and was unable to get the roll out. Do a running attack if I can. God, the running attack's very slow with the mace. I should keep that in mind. Because the good thing about a running attack in most cases is that you get the attack out very quickly. But with the mace, my character actually does a little turn. Or I suppose he has to build it up. The turn takes place when he swings the mace, but he has to build up to the swing, which actually is really nasty. I don't like that very much at all. Alright, so I just put away the... Oh, fucking hell. Maybe I shouldn't have put away the torch. I'll engage you, but I just need to do so with care. I can backstab you like so. Because quite frankly, those enemies have a lot of range and they have bleed build-up. Here's Gavlan, so yeah. This is where I was... This is where I was expecting to find him initially. These chests are safe, by the way. There aren't many mimics in this game. They do exist, but they're not as common as the first Dark Souls. Which is one refreshing aspect of this game. You're an idiot. Well, there are no mimics here, but there are trapped chests, which apparently deal a fucking shitload of damage at this point in the game. Remember when I said that I was not expecting to die in No Man's Wharf? Well, I wasn't expecting to die to the enemies in No Man's Wharf. So, yeah, that technically didn't happen, but I did die. And I'm just going to have to live with it. I'm going to run past these enemies because I just have no desire whatsoever to engage them. That is the situation. And they're just going to have to deal with it. Stop it. Was not expecting him to do a drop-down attack on me. That's crazy. I'll heal up with an Estus Flask. Dangerous as it is because it slows me down. Ugh. Starting to feel the slowness of my character right now. That's going to be a... Yep, look at that. From Dark Souls, that would not kill me. That actually would not be enough damage to kill me in Dark Souls. This is what happens when you haven't played Dark Souls 2 in a while. You forget how much fucking fall damage there is. It's disgusting. Makes me sick. Oh well, I lost however many souls I had on hand there. Don't think it was too many. Possibly enough to level up, but... yeah, it sort of comes across as a big waste of time, doesn't it? Because I killed all of those enemies making my way through No Man's Wharf slowly and methodically. And I got nothing out of it whatsoever. So... yeah, it is very annoying. Can you stop doing that? I forgot that you had that ability to do a drop-down attack, and so I keep walking into it stupidly. Go away. My character does feel a little bit slow. Even though the rolling animation is almost visually the same, you do feel the difference, most certainly. There is nothing to pick up from that soul, so I'm not going to bother. Can you stop fucking slowing down? Just move, asshole. No, there's a Vangarian at the top. I'm hoping that, yeah, I can heal before he does his attack. So just up here is something that is absolutely required to progress. It's very easy to walk past it. It's a lever that actually activates that ship. All the torches on the ship light up, and it starts to sail towards the wharf itself. There is a shortcut that I can unlock, and I'm going to do that now. That's the main reason why I'm running through all of this. You can see the ship is coming through. I would love to be able to show it properly. Oh, that's right. The shortcut in question is from Scholar of the First Sin. No wonder I didn't notice it until I played that version. I played Scholar of the First Sin and I was like, am I stupid? Did I miss this? During so many playthroughs? Well, no, I hadn't. It's just that it didn't exist. So, okay. I guess I'll have to just aggressively take on the boss, which I can probably do. I can try summoning Lucatiel. I don't know if it's worth it. I can't remember where his summon sign is. You seem to be having a tough time, my friend. I don't really want to fight you. Alright, let's just be real aggressive with it. We'll run through all the enemies and engage the Flexile Sentry. Would I like to be slow and methodical in going through the entirety of No Man's Wharf? Yes. But it's unfortunately not within my capabilities right now. I'm too impatient. Hopefully I'm not going to get hit through this fucking fog. You better leave me alone. Yeah, cool. I'm glad that that guy's being slow. So this is the pillar that I was talking about. I should mention that you don't want to be on the side of the Flexile Sentry that has the dual swords. You want to be on the side of the spiked clubs, because he's easier to deal with generally. Now the damage that I'm dealing is not amazing, but I suppose it could be worse. My lightning attack is not great. So that combo there is a bit nasty. You don't want to get hit by that. It's bad news. I did press the button to roll, but it did not go through fast enough. Oh, that seems to be oh, I see. There's a different running attack for one-handed and two-handed, obviously. The one-handed running attack with the mace is very slow. The one-handed attack Sorry, the two-handed running attack is actually appropriate. I said I didn't want to be on the side of the dual swords flexile sentry, but I'll take what I get. What are you doing, man? Just do your attack. See, that's a good opportunity to go in for a running attack. With most weapons. Like I said, running attacks are generally very helpful. Because you can quickly close the distance, get an attack out, and create more distance. Which is safer. Fucking hell. I was trying to do a running attack. Obviously. But it didn't go through. Didn't go out, didn't go through, whatever you want to say, it doesn't matter. Sometimes he's got to follow up, I think. Oh, it's worth mentioning that in this boss fight, the water level is slowly raising, so you don't actually want this to take too long. Otherwise, your mobility is going to go down, down, down. And it's bad news. I pressed the button. You can probably hear the button press in the microphone. Press the damn button to heal myself. Probably wasn't a good idea to do that. That was a bit of a joust there. But yes, the water level does slowly rise as you fight the Flexile Sentry. And if you take too long to kill him, you will eventually just... I don't know if you drown or what. Maybe that doesn't happen that way. I actually don't know because I've never reached that point, okay? That's why I'm not entirely sure. But I do think that if it doesn't drown you, which it probably doesn't, it'll reach a point where you just can't move properly anymore. Like you actually can't walk. It'll be as if you are over-encumbered. Apparently, Owlsum is very excited that I'm also Australian. He's even written mate with an apostrophe to replace the T. Mate. Mate. I suppose... Yeah, I suppose we don't say mate all that much, do we? I do, but... You know, when you want to be real Aussie... True blue, fair dinkum, fucking Aussie bloke, you say mate. Without the T pronunciation. Anyway. Got some pyromancy there. It's not especially interesting, certainly not for this build. But it's worth mentioning that if you have a desire to get the pyromancy flame and use pyromancy in this game, you want to go and open that chest before interacting with this object here. Because interacting with this object will literally take you to another location, and you will have to come all the way back to this area. And you know how to get here. It's a bit of a journey to get the pyromancy flame back, so... Or to actually get it. Once you press that button, you can't go back. You can't ask the boat to stop so that you can open the chest. You're forced to head on over to the Lost Bastille. I don't know what sort of live stream you've joined, Owlsum, but I'm discussing these things because it's conversational. If I was sitting here relying on chat interactions to conduct conversation with my viewers, I think I'd be sitting here in silence for most of it. And quite frankly, people who sit in silence while doing live streams are neither interesting nor needed on Twitch. Alright, we've got another elevator here. And interestingly, it plays Demon Soul sound effects. I think the tone, or the pitch, whatever you want to say, I guess the pitch of it, is slightly higher than it is in Demon Souls. Of course, referring to the original game. I've got no idea if they reused the sound effects from the original in the remake, because I haven't watched footage of the remake, but I'm assuming they would have done all of the sounds by, like, from scratch, and not reused any of the old ones, which is a shame, but I suppose they wouldn't want to be accused of reusing any visual or audio assets. Anyway, the Lost Bastille. I believe the bonfire is just over here. Not everyone, Alzim. Not everyone knows the things that I say. I have people that have not actually played Souls who find my stuff on YouTube because, you know, Twitch is not the beginning and the end of content creation, you see. I upload VODs to YouTube. I've had one person in particular, for example, decide to try playing Dark Souls because they saw me play it. And he actually will be watching this not having played Dark Souls 2, so that will be informative for him. But even if I didn't have him, there's nothing wrong with making the assumption that some people might benefit from a little bit of information relating to the game. If I were to just sit here and assume that everyone knew everything about the game, that would heavily simplify any amount of commentary. So, again, I don't know what sort of standard you hold me to, whether it's a very low standard or a very high standard, but one thing I can say for sure is that whatever you're expecting is not what you're going to find when it comes to this commentary and this live stream. So, continue watching if you'd like to, but it's obviously going to be quite different. There are some archers up here, I think, or at least there was one. Maybe I'm thinking of Scholar of the First Sin. Again, I do hate that my memories are starting to overlap between this version and that version. But I can't help it, because I haven't played this particular version in a long time. I can't remember if this is an Estus Flask Shard or Sublime Bone Dust, it's one of the two. It is Estus Flask Shard, which is fine. I'd actually consider that to be more useful at this point. I don't want to engage the dog and this enemy at the same time, so I'd like to pull the dog back here if I can. Yes, come on. You motherfucker. I was unlikely to actually hit him successfully in that moment anyway, because my range is quite lacking. Well, quite frankly, that was inevitable. Taking that hit. I'm not too worried about these life gems here. I'm not worried about consuming too many of them. I really don't mind purchasing more from Melentia. I don't consider it to be that expensive. Let me think. I'm trying to remember how to get through here. Oh, there is actually a... Right, it's the other side where you can't access this part. I remember that. Of course, we did enter the Lost Bastille from the other side after having killed the Pursuer boss. But I didn't really venture into the Lost Bastille from that side at all. Neither to demonstrate it nor to acquire anything in particular. Now, I know that that's locked, but I genuinely don't know if there is a key that I can get to open that or not. It's bizarre. Oh god. Well, aside from that, I do need to deal with you. That's always entertaining when that happens. Sadly, he gets an invulnerability period like he's a player or something. Like he's not an NPC. Why is all this blown up? Come on. I'm supposed to make use of these to blow open this entrance to a bonfire, and yet it's all been destroyed. Probably by dogs or by that guy, I don't know. I think I can actually still use this thing over here, the barrel that's over this way. Hopefully I can roll it. Can I? Maybe I can't. No, I don't think it does roll. There is a loose barrel that rolls down here, and I can make use of that to blow a hole in this wall. But it looks like it's not here. Maybe it exploded alongside, or along with, the other barrels that exploded as a result of that guy swinging his giant halberd around. He actually hangs around in this area. He should know the dangers, but apparently it was more important that he try to kill me. Alright. I'm gonna sit back a little bit in my chair. So I feel like I'm leaning a little bit. Ugh. You bastard. Just trying to think what I can do here, because I'm not sure if I can access the bonfire from the other side. Or perhaps I can. Yes, I think I can, so... yeah, that should be okay. I'm working with very vague memories at the moment. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and get to that other bonfire, and then I will try again to blow a hole in that wall. If I'm unable to do either of these things, that's fine. I'll work out what to do when that happens. Here's Lucatiel again. Have a chat with her.
That might be you. You haven't changed a bit.
You haven't changed a bit since I saw you 30 minutes ago.
The longer
Ha ha ha.
I'm here, the more madness. A wretched place indeed. What could have caused such degradation? Ah, yeah. This is for you. Of course.
I just got a human effigy from her.
Our land of mirror. There is my
I'm going to make sure that I've exhausted her dialogue,
I was raised like
because that is required, I believe, to further her story.
heard of the fine and one this
And furthering her story allows me to summon her for the Smelter Demon, which is really the main reason why I
sorry.
continue her
To burden you with talk of my I suppose
dialogue.
I suppose
Alright, so that should have exhausted it. And I believe we can open this for... oh, come on! It's the other way around? I have to open it from that side? How annoying is that? Alright, so I think what I can do is actually use a Homeward Bone. Maybe it would have been helpful to have Homeward, I realise that. But I don't regret prioritising Lightning Spear. I felt that it was helpful during that boss fight, so it is what it is. Alrighty. We'll see if there's anything that I want to consume. Flexile Sentry Soul. Is it the Warped Sword that's often used with that soul? I think so. I don't have any expectation of using it in this build, and at this stage I have no desire to use it, so I think I will just consume the Flexile Sentry Soul for the souls that it gives me here in the early game. You sort of have to compare the benefit that you're likely to get out of it later versus the benefit you're going to get out of it now in the early game, and then you have to work out what's more important. And that's while factoring in the bonfire ascetic system, which is to say that generally you can get the soul whenever you want, you just have to work for it a little more. I am going to level up. I'll take strength to 16, and then we're going to focus on endurance a little bit. We'll take endurance to 15 because, again, my stamina feels like it's lacking a little bit. It slightly increases my health anyway, so that's nice. I'm going to level up based on these stats, and we're now going to be going one-handed with this mace. Because I have the Dranglaic shield here, which has 100% physical damage reduction, which for me is a requirement if I'm using a shield. Because if you're reliant on a shield, you're going to be shielding a lot. That is the reality. So I want to be able to shield 100% physical damage. It's only sensible and logical. I would like to speak to you actually so that I can give you the Estus Flask Shard in my possession. Alright. Was there anything else that I wanted to do here? Again, I hesitate to upgrade my mace. I probably could, but I don't want to continue using it. So, the question then becomes, what's your alternative going to be then, Doomlink? You're either going to surely upgrade the mace, or find something different. Well, interestingly, I can't think of anything better right now, and I still don't want to upgrade the mace, so illogical as it sounds, I'm going to continue without upgrading it for the moment. We're going to head to the tower apart in Lost Bastille. That was actually the first bonfire location that we reached in this area. And we're going to open that door from the other side, and we're going to try again to access bonfire number 3. I'm going two-handed with you because he's got a very strong weapon. Enemies that aren't really worth shielding are enemies that aren't really worth fighting one-handed, obviously. I don't think we can actually backstab these guys. They're a bit too large. Oh yes, we want to roll through this. If you attack that, I believe it will explode, so don't do that. Just roll, and you'll be safe. Lucatiel has moved on, because we have exhausted her dialogue. I do want to fight you from a distance, because I want to keep all confrontations away from exploding barrels, for reasons that you will soon discover if you do not know. I'm also going to roll into barrels that I pass. So the guy over there is really the one that I should have been using ranged combat against. I forgot that there were 2. Genuinely did forget. It's alright. I'll pull him away from this barrel. We need that barrel intact. That's very important. Don't you dare swing that onto that barrel. Alright, what's happening? How about you? It's a bit of a slow roll. Poorly timed, anyway. Alright. Now, stupid as it sounds, sometimes you can push this barrel and it just does not end up on target with where you're actually trying to have it go. But we'll see if I can do it first try. That seems to be perfect. There you are. I've seen it roll off into all sorts of strange places, apart from that of the wall, so yeah, I'm happy to actually have it work first time I attempted it. Alright. And with that, we have access to the second blacksmith of the game, Macduff. This is Macduff's Workshop Bonfire. I can't get over the guy who came into the live stream. He comes into the live stream by saying, in italics, has joined. So it's his name and then has joined. And then his whole chat participation is just so far removed from A, my community, and B, my style of content. It was just so funny. He's like, just the emotes he was using and the way he was trying to interact with me. It was really funny. No one's even attempted to interact with me in that way before, because I generally don't attract those sorts of people. Those sorts of people don't even bother beginning to try. They just watch, sit there for 1 minute, go, "Oh, I'm bored," and then they go and watch something else. But this guy actually tried to do a song request in my chat and everything. It was really weird. He seemed to be a bit of an attention seeker as well. He's actually the first person I've seen like that in my chat. Okay, so this guy wants us to talk to him multiple times because, for some reason, talking to him multiple times means that I am a real go-getter. I'm not at all shy. I'm willing to keep talking to him. So, There you go. Once we get him an ember, he will actually let us forge things with him. I believe the ember is found in the Iron Keep. That is assuming that I'm not getting confused with Scholar of the First Sin, but I don't think I am. The reason why I'm possibly getting it mixed up is because I can't, at this stage, remember where it appears in both versions of the game. I know that it appears in the Iron Keep, at least in one of the versions, but... God, where else was it? I believe it was in the Iron Keep in the original version, because I could never get used to it being somewhere else. In Scholar of the First Sin. I'm pretty sure that's how it worked, because it made sense for the Flame Ember, or whatever ember he was looking for, to be in a hot volcanic location. Maybe not volcanic, but it was lava and all of that. Very hot. It was just logical that you would find the ember there. But they changed its location in Scholar of the First Sin, and interestingly, even though most of my recent playthroughs of Dark Souls 2 have been in Scholar of the First Sin, I don't remember where the hell that ember ended up. So, there you go. Is it worth taking on the boss of this location? Probably. I'd say I may as well. Am I happy with my weapon? I will have to definitely summon an NPC and a player to help me with this boss coming up. I think I have enough life gems for it, probably. Maybe I'll purchase some more. I'll top myself up to 20, and then I'll try to very carefully and sensibly make my way through the Lost Bastille leading up to the boss, and then I'll try to take the boss on with a group. Alright. Now, if we go to Melentia, I might actually see if she's got anything else of interest to purchase. We do have a Pharos Lockstone, but I don't think I'm going to bother purchasing it right now. The good thing about Melentia, and having her in Majula, is the fact that she sells an infinite number of the standard life gems. Quite frankly, standard life gems are pretty good for basically all of New Game. They start to become a bit lacking if you do focus very heavily on increasing vigor, but if you're not a vigor lover, if you don't get weak in the knees at the thought of vigor, then I'd say they'll still work quite fine. Right towards the end of the game. That's been my experience anyway. Hello. Got my shield. I of course have a bit more endurance, well, sorry, a bit more stamina courtesy of increasing my endurance, so it feels better to now be using a shield. I'm gonna try and bring this guy away from that bomb! Asshole. I'm glad that didn't hurt very much. And now I've got a dog to contend with as well. You motherfucker, keeping perfectly out of my range and then jumping into it to hit me. You're an annoyance. Alright. I don't know why you moved so much when I hit you there. Did it really hurt that much? Alright, what have you dropped? Great Machete. That doesn't drop very often. Let's see what the stat requirements are. It doesn't seem like that great of a weapon. It's cool because, like I said, it doesn't often drop from these enemies. It's not a common drop. Don't know if it's technically rare. This has a spinning attack, right? Oh no, it doesn't spin. Okay. It's an interesting weapon. Yeah, of course, long range. And the durability is only slightly better than the Old Knight Halberd. This is 30, as opposed to 20, which makes this still kind of bad for durability, which is unfortunate. Alright. Back to the mace then. It doesn't feel like a weapon worth focusing on because I don't think it's going to end up being a weapon with high level stat bonuses associated with it. Hello. Did I mention that I'm sick of fighting you motherfuckers? Well, that's pleasant to see. Again, look at that fucking invulnerability period. He doesn't deserve an invulnerability period. Dark Souls 2 is definitely the enemy's friend. Anything to make the experience less pleasant for the player. Alright. We've got a few enemies up ahead. So we're going to try and deal with them carefully. They're all going to start coming through here. Alright, I just wanted to see how much damage I was dealing. It's not too bad. These guys are actually struggling to get through the door, hilariously. I'm trying to keep them close together. That way it's easier to contend with them. The reason being that one single hit can hit more than one. One single swing of my weapon can hit more than one enemy, which helps for crowd control. Alright. Alright. I believe there are more enemies just around the corner. Yes. You see, there are also exploding barrels in there. Why was Doomlink just standing there? Well, it's because of that. You heard the sound of what I was just avoiding as well. I'm trying to go through this area slowly and carefully. And it's precisely so that I can avoid things like that I'm taking it slow. No, don't run away. I know how you work. Take this to the back of the head. He's gone and run away, I think. You do you. Let's go and consume a human effigy. This is obviously required to actually summon people. This is the NPC summon sign. We'll at least summon Pilgrim Belclair if we can't get a summon sign from a player. After I've stood around waiting for a little while, then I'll just accept the situation as it is, and we'll try to take on the boss with just Pilgrim Belclair to assist us. I don't know where we would even expect to see summon signs. I'm assuming around here in front of the boss door. I don't know how many people are actually playing the game. I can't imagine there'd be a huge number of them, but I have been seeing players in their living forms hanging around bonfires. That's usually where you see them. Oh, look who's decided to try again. Well, he didn't even attempt to kill me last time, so describing this as him trying again would be inaccurate. And actually inaccurately elevating his tenacity as an enemy. Well, I have a feeling that standing around here waiting is really going to yield no results. So let's head on down into the boss room and pray that I'm appropriately leveled for this fight. Going two-handed feels like the best thing for me to be doing, because I don't think shielding these big hammers is really going to do much for me. I do need to take care here though, as you can tell. Please don't fall down. Please don't fall down, man. Fine. Yeah, because if I stay up there, Pilgrim Belclair is just going to be casting his magic inanely. Literally at the floor, and he's still doing it. He's an asshole. Because I've gone and looked up at the ceiling instead of focusing on the enemy, I've caused problems for myself. You can see that Pilgrim Belclair helps to have on your side. Alright. Look who appeared behind me. I heard the sound of you landing behind me, but I was Still a little confused by it. I don't necessarily have to focus on the same one as Belclair because, to be honest, I would rather reduce the chance of fighting two at the same time. So having him focus on one and then me focus on the other is probably helpful. You can see that this one is turtling me, that's actually common. Fine. Go and attack this one then. If that guy just wants to turtle all day, then I'll do this. I've now prompted him to attack me. And he's back to turtling. Is he? No. Yeah, the damage that I'm dealing is appropriate even one-handed, so... Pilgrim Belclair has done good work. I'll just deal the killing blow and take all the credit. Of course, Pilgrim Belclair's assistance has been almost essential to victory in this boss fight. The enemy perfectly avoided the magic just by swinging his weapon around, and that's the boss fight completed. Was I appropriately leveled for that? I'd say so. It would be a step up in difficulty, but I wasn't inappropriately leveled for the fight. And that's not just in regards to my soul level, but how I had built my character up until that point. I'd say it was appropriate. It still doesn't really feel like that much of a faith build at the moment, but as I develop the build, it will become more and more like a faith build. Now, there's an enemy just in there who has a tendency to explode and ruin your day after you have succeeded in killing the boss, so it is best to coax him into exploding and then give him a wide berth to avoid getting caught in the explosion, obviously. Alright, so yeah, we've still got the same two rings that we got in the previous video. There is currently a pail that is moving me. I've never seen this before. What if I let it move me inside this object over here? I'd never considered that. Can I enter this object? Ooh. Is it happening? No, I'm sliding up against the object. This wooden bucket is much heavier than it appears. It does have a steel rim, but still. Well, I've never had my character pushed by a bucket rolling on its own before. That's a new experience, and I'm glad that I caught that on camera. And it seems that we acquired some Radiant Life Gems. I don't know if that was from that boss or from a pickup before the boss. Maybe it was after the boss. I wasn't paying attention at all, clearly. At any rate, we have 34,324 souls. That is what I'm reporting to you. And that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. I've been streaming for a bit over an hour, so we definitely have more to do in this recording. I don't think I'll be going for longer than 2 hours. If I do go for longer than 2 hours, it would be because I'm enjoying what I'm doing in the game, and I'm not watching the time. So, human effigies are still looking good. Usually as I play through Dark Souls 2, I will have more than 5 human effigies at any given time in the early game. And then that'll accumulate to 10, and then 15, then 20. Because I only need them occasionally. So, I think we're ready to level up. Should I evaluate what is best to level up at this point? Probably a good idea. We'll stay at 22 faith for now, because I do have some other stats that have been neglected. Vigor hasn't been touched at all, I don't think. Endurance can probably go to 15, then I'll actually leave it alone. Attunement needs to go up by 1, at least. I think we get another slot at plus 12 or 13, something along those lines. Let's just feel our way through it. It's not like Demon Souls where you have to actually commit to every individual upgrade, which is Something that actually hurts to do when I go back to Demon Souls. I eventually get used to, well, not even eventually, I do get used to it after a short time when I return to Demon Souls, but at first, if you are used to how it works in the 3 Dark Souls games, oh my god, it is really painful. Back in the original Demon Souls. You didn't question it at the time because it just had to be done that way. That's how you leveled up. You committed to every individual level up, so you would have to plan ahead. But still, it's so nice to just be able to allocate everything. And then confirm it. So much easier to plan out what you're doing with every level up session. So, it is plus 13, as I suspected. I knew it was 12 or 13, one of the two. So that's 2 slots in attunement. That way I should be able to equip Homewood as well as Lightning Spear. I'm not in desperate need to have Homewood, but again, it's nice to have. Vigor to 13, then leave it alone, maybe? Should I do that, or instead increase my strength? I think my health is fine, actually. Let's increase strength. I'm going to get a lot more use out of that, I think. Because if I find a different weapon to use... Okay, let me put it this way. A weapon that in the early game would comfortably replace the mace would be a weapon with a very high strength requirement. So I need to start focusing on strength when I level up. This is obviously referring to my preference when it comes to strength-based builds. I don't necessarily have to have a strength-focused faith build. I can reallocate my stats if I have to, if I'm really offended by my personal decision to go with a strength-focused build in the future, but for now, yeah, let's just focus on strength and see how we go. Ugh. As I mentioned in the previous video, there are probably things to acquire in the early game that are suitable to faith builds, but I have no recollection of those things. So, like I said, I don't really remember how to build a faith build, because there is always an ideal way to do it. There is a technique, a process, that is going to work best for one particular build or another, when going through the early game and the mid-game. But because I have no recollection of those details, I'm just going to play through the game and happen upon things. And when it feels appropriate, I'll look online for specific weapons and armor and do that. It will feel appropriate when I feel like I've reached probably the midway point of the game. Which means I'll have access to probably a lot of those things. Not everything, but some things. That's when I'll really start to work on creating the build that will be my endgame build. The appearance and the... well, basically, the way the build's going to look in the endgame is going to take shape in my mind in the midway point of the game, not at this point. In the early game, I'm just going to be playing through it, just getting through all the different bosses and having weapons and armor that are going to fulfill that end, that are going to achieve that. So, there you go. Probably not how everyone plays, but that's how I play. I plan ahead, but not from the beginning, usually. So we have a few options as far as progression through the game. I'm just thinking what comes after the Lost Bastille. Sinner's Rise. I don't think I'm ready for Sinner's Rise just yet, so I think Huntsman's Copse will be the appropriate next stage. I could always do a few things before Sinner's Rise, so maybe I'll do that. We don't have to immediately, take on the Lost Sinner. And to be honest, I think summoning Lucatiel and having the boss room lit would make the Lost Sinner doable, even at this stage in the game for me. So it's tempting to give it a try. I don't know if it would be a good idea, but as I say, it is tempting. I believe we're going over here, is that right? When going towards the Lost Sinner? Or going in that general direction. Sinner's Rise, as I say. I think there's a key over here, isn't there? Don't roll off the edge, please. There isn't a key. Maybe I'm thinking of Scholar of the First Sin again. I'm doing my best to avoid getting confused by that, but I really can't help it, as you can tell. I am doing my best. The human effigy is fine as well, but yeah. The key I was thinking of was the key that opened the door to the flame torches at Sinner's Rise. Well, I don't think you could even call them torches themselves. It's basically, there are these oil pathways that can be lit on fire and they will actually light the torches in the boss room. Or just light the fire in the boss room. But I can't really remember where that key is in the original version, unfortunately. Hopefully it's sort of obvious and I'll be able to jog my memory as I play. Yeah, alright. I'll go over to this side. I don't mind. Yeah, I'm trying to think of where it is, but I can't remember. Let's roll through here. We've got some enemies hiding away. I think one of them's actually inside the barrels, is that right? No, it was just that one, apparently. That is a door to nowhere, I should mention. I'm not going to open it to demonstrate it. It is a door to nowhere, just trust me. I don't think there's anything of importance in here. No, that's where I just was, okay. Onward. There are some more exploding enemies. I suppose I didn't mention what these enemies are. They are exploding enemies that will run at you, throw themselves on the ground, and detonate. That one will actually damage the durability of your equipment. This one that's sort of glowing a yellowish colour. Now inside these pots there will be enemies hiding. So yeah, the ones that are not glowing will just harm you with their explosions. There are some that actually explode. They will detonate in a fiery explosion, some of them. This is an example of one that will just create a shockwave of sorts. Don't fucking... Why? Argh! In Dark Souls 2, your character does not naturally aim themselves at the enemy that you're targeting. You'll move in the direction that you're facing, I guess. So when I attacked there, I did not intend to fucking attack in that direction. Fine. I'll live with it. Again, part of the Dark Souls experience is to, or the Souls experience, is to be able to handle failure and just try again. Just try again. And do better next time. That's all you can ask of yourself. Come on, how the fuck did that miss? What a joke. Oh god, of course. Just have to get used to the terrible range of this weapon. I won't be keeping it for long. The main reason why I'm going in this direction now is because even though Sinner's Rise is probably not worth undertaking right now... Come on, you fucking useless weapon! Oh my god. Even though Sinner's Rise is not really worth undertaking just yet, I'm gonna try to prompt him to attack. There is actually someone that I can get close to. I can't actually access him yet, but I can... Ugh. I'm not really explaining myself very well. There is someone that I can forge things with. Specifically, convert boss souls into weapons with. And while I can't unlock him yet because it requires what's called a fragrant branch of yore, which I don't currently possess, and I can't really remember where I can get one at this moment, I can actually get close to him by... Or I can unlock a shortcut to him, we'll say. Get close to him is very abstruse. I can basically go to a bonfire over there at the beginning of Sinner's Rise and then have what is effectively a shortcut to him. And that's useful. So that's why I'm going in this direction right now. There are a lot of enemies in here, and you need to, obviously, slowly pull them all towards you. Otherwise you'll be dealing with all of them at the same time, and that's no fun. Oh god, of course that would be within range. Get up off the ground, you useless bastard. Having a short-range weapon really is awful with these enemies. As obvious as it is. Alright, so this is the fellow who requires a fragrant branch of yore in order to get through him. Essentially, he is petrified, he's been turned to stone, and if you use a fragrant branch of yore, that will cure him of his ailment, and then he will be an NPC that you can interact with, and he's a very useful one. I believe it is through him that I'll be able to get the Pursuer's Greatsword, which I'm thinking of having as my next weapon to replace the mace, finally. But I don't know if it can be infused with lightning stone or whatever you call it in this game, which will effectively make it scale with my faith. I don't know, but again, I considered keeping my Pursuer's Soul for that purpose. So there you go. Is he my number one priority for Fragrant Branch of Yore use? Sort of. He's definitely a high priority. There is another one that's important, and that is the one leading to the Shaded Woods. And I don't really know how many Fragrant Branches of Yore I have access to right now. Hopefully 2. But I can't remember where to get them right now. I'll work it out in due time. But Huntsman's Copse will probably be a place for me to go to. There is again a great temptation to go and fight the Lost Sinner. I think I just remembered where the key is that I was thinking of. It would be nice if I was correct, and I think I'm correct. If I go to the tower apart, I think I'll be close to the key that actually unlocks the place that will allow me to light the torches in the room of the boss, which makes a huge difference to the fight. If you engage the Lost Sinner, which is the boss of Sinner's Rise, the location that the bonfire we just rested at before was attached to, you will have to deal with very short-range confrontation. In a dark room, your character can't actually target very far. You will have seen this, obviously, in Dark Anor Londo in the first Dark Souls, if you actually played that game before playing this one, unlike everyone when this game came out. But it is the same here, in Dark Souls 2. Locations that are particularly dark will cause you to suffer the effects of shorter range with your targeting. Hello, Weird Gaming. I have almost killed you. It would be great if you could die sometime real soon. Asshole. I believe that what I'm looking for is in a chest over that way. I hope so. That would be about right, wouldn't it? The dogs can actually withstand one of these lightning bolts. Lightning spears, whatever you want to call it. I will kill you because it'll be... Are you fucking kidding me? There's some exploding barrels in here, as entertaining as it will be to have them attack the barrels and then die. I don't want to get caught up in the explosions, so... Yeah. Please stop, you motherfuckers. Die, and then you also die. What the hell? That was almost my death, quite frankly, but I managed to get through it. I think I'm right about this, you know. I'm glad that my memory of the original version of the game is still clear enough. Yes, I think the antiquated key is the one. Alright. Covetous Silver Serpent Ring has also been given to us. I'm obviously going to equip it because I have 2 free ring slots and no other rings to equip, so let's get some more souls, shall we? Hey, Force Infinity. Doom, Doritos, and Dark Souls. Well, enjoy your Doritos, man. Seeing as though both of you came at the same time, it makes me wonder if a notification went out in a delayed fashion through Twitch. I don't know. But, yeah. I really need that homeward bloody thing. You know what, I will go and use a homeward bone, because if I'm going to get the homeward miracle, I don't need to worry about homeward bones. Oh, you just woke up? Okay. It's just a coincidence that you two came at the same time. Understood. It just often happens that way. But at any rate, I will go and get that homeward miracle now, because I'm heading in that direction. Well, no, I'm not heading in that direction. I'm going to take on the Lost Sinner. That's what I'm going to do, because I feel ready. Whether or not I am ready is something that I'll have to find out the hard way. Hopefully not the real hard way, because that will probably mean failure, but I want to find out in more practical ways, like by engaging the Lost Sinner to find out if I'm ready. Which will hopefully lead to a dead Lost Sinner boss. Which will be my first... What are they called in this game? There are key bosses that need to be killed and I forgot what they're called. Doesn't matter. Yes, hello. So we can still engage with her services as normal, but she has an additional option, which is move path. We basically need to give her money to move this path for us, which is absurd, because she makes out to be praying for us to move ahead through the game or whatever, but she's actually just operating a contraption that realistically we should be able to operate as well. It's by Homeward, and we can't actually equip spells through her, sadly, or miracles. Guidance is really not that helpful. Caressing prayer, lovely. Sounds like the sort of thing that you would get, or that you would learn if you wanted to avoid visiting, I don't know, a place that would give sexual services. Instead of going to the Thai massage, you cast caressing prayer. I don't know. Oh yeah, I think I heard about Armored Core coming back. But yeah, Armored Core was, I suppose, what From Software was best known for when Demon Souls came out. So, yeah, I never played any of the Armored Core games, but I'd imagine they're pretty good. Speaking of which, I do need to play some Kingsfield on the channel eventually. I've been talking about it for a very long time, and I still haven't done it. Thanks, Force Infinity. He went and gave A-Gaming a gift sub, which obviously helps me as well, because that is a form of subscription. So, yes, much appreciated. What was I going to do? That's right. Attune a spell. I don't do it through you, I do it through the bonfire, silly me. Emit Force is helpful in very specific situations, but yeah, I won't be using it. Having Homeward is just a nice passive miracle that, well, active miracle actually, it's not passive. I mean that it's passive in the sense that it's going to sit there in the background ready to be used when it needs to be used. But that doesn't fit the definition of passive miracle. Anyway, let's head to the Salt Fort and take on Sinner's Rise, and hopefully not get beaten down. I do believe that the antiquated key... Oh, give it a rest, guys. Literally just spawned. I do hope that the antiquated key is what I need. It should be. Considering where I got it, and considering that I anticipated where I would be able to find the key in question, this should be the one that I need. Homewood shouldn't be in the game when the aged feather exists. What? You get the aged feather at the end of the game, man. Homewood is helpful for like the whole game leading up to the point where you get the aged feather. What a strange thing to say. Okay. Anyway, I feel like I could contrive a funny equivalent to what you just said, like an equivalent comparison, but I don't know. Anyway, to suggest that somehow the aged feather removes any legitimacy for Homewood the miracle to exist is, yeah, that's interesting to say the least. Anyway, if you noticed, I was actually fat rolling there. If you're wondering why, it's in fact because my key caused me to pass the weight threshold, and that doesn't happen very often. Anyway, the suggestion that Homewood has no use in the entirety of the game leading up to where you get the aged feather is a little misguided, so yeah, I will respectfully disagree with that statement. I don't remember the item that I get here, but I'm... Oh, okay. I really was expecting to... It's alright, I need to use a human effigy anyway, so I actually don't care. But I should have checked before falling, but I really did think that we had been descending for long enough at that point to be within appropriate falling distance of that ledge, but fine. Well, I don't mind the aged feather existing. Okay? Homewood is not intended to be an endgame miracle. It's simply not. There are many miracles and even spells that exist in Souls games that are not going to be helpful permanently. You know, they'll only be helpful as you're playing through the game, and I think that's important. I think it's important that there are things that are particularly useful at the start, but their usefulness doesn't last. I think it gives the early game a bit more flavor and a bit more meaning if there are things specifically helpful at that point but not in the future. It means that you're effectively changing your build as you go on, instead of literally creating a build in the early game that's going to be identical to what you'll have in the future. God. I don't know where you rolled in from, but I really could have lived without having you do that. Alright, let's actually watch for where we're dropping this time. I just don't remember if this item is any good. Lacerating knives. Not very useful at all. I believe Lucatiel's summon sign is actually here, but I think that I want to take on... I don't really want to fight you. Alright, I know what to do. We'll summon Lucatiel, and then we'll run past that enemy, because I don't want Lucatiel to lose health here. As long as we run past that enemy, Lucatiel will not engage it. Because a summoned phantom NPC, even if they are being attacked by an enemy, will prioritize keeping up with you over an enemy attacking them. Fuck off, go. Stop! Motherfucker! Lucatiel is keeping nice and close to me. Which is nice, I suppose. Alright. It's fucking locked. Well, that's fine. I can live with that. I'm sure I can still get through. It just means I have to go a different way. I forgot what key opens that, even. Well, Lucatiel actually is pretty switched on. He anticipated that I would need to come through the door. And backed away. Good on you. Alright, let's head over to the other side. We need to make sure we kill these enemies quickly. Oh. Damn. I don't know what key I need, but anyway. Obviously there's a lever down there that I can pull. That gives me access to... Oh, well... We'll find out. Go away. Stop. Go. Get out of here. You fucker. Lucatiel, don't hurt yourself going after them. I just don't want him to, or her rather, to lose health before we fight the boss. It's really important that we don't have that happen. How did I just lose that much health? What the fuck? Lucatiel, please be careful. Get in range. She's lost a third of her fucking health. She hasn't even engaged the Lost Sinner yet. This is important. Anyway. Oh my god. I don't have a flame butterfly. How stupid. Okay, sorry Lucatiel, we have to try this again. I don't have a flame butterfly. I don't remember where to get one. I'll work it out. But usually I just happen to have one on hand when I get to this point. I don't have one now, and that's annoying. That is required if I'm going to light the torches here. Okay, let's use that homeward miracle I was talking about. Off we go. I do have the key for the side rooms, yes. Now. Let's try and figure out where I can get a flame butterfly. I don't think I can get one from Melentia. I'll check the vendors of Majula. If anyone remembers... Where's your torch? What do you mean? I do have one. Well, if I look in my status screen, or wherever it's shown, you can see that I have 2 minutes and 22 seconds torch usage. So I don't know where it is. I think that's a fair question. But I do actually have a torch that can be used, because that's what the equipment screen indicates. What's the antiquated key then? Venetia silver. Because I got a key that I thought would open those doors. And I seem to remember... Oh, antiquated key is for the ruined sentinels. Okay. Where do I get the key for that door? Because I've forgotten. I only remember where to get it in Scholar of the First Sin, because my memory of the original version is... not assisting me in any reasonable way. The Bastille key is what I need. Okay. Well... where have I yet to go in Lost Bastille? No, I really do think that... Well, I really did believe anyway that I had the right idea. Fine. I'll check online. Oh, the area around the Archer Towers. What? Really? Well, I can go based on that information, I suppose, but... Are you talking about the entrance to Sinner's Rise? Like the bonfire over here? This place? Is that what you mean by Archer Towers? Oh. Do you mean... if I start here and then... No. Archer Towers. Allow me to ruminate on this for a moment. Well, Exile holding cells or that. I still don't know what you mean by Archer Towers then, because I don't see how it could be this or strayed. Only one of the two can be the correct answer. So, is the key around here? Maybe? I wish I could remember. It's so strange how Scholar of the First Sin is completely overwritten my memory. That's why I fucking hate that version of the game. It shouldn't exist. It's just awful. It adds nothing. But detracts a whole lot. Aha! It's probably that shit. What are you doing? Don't use Homer, you fuck! I didn't realize that I still had the... Anyway. I honestly, hand on heart, didn't realize that I still had my chime equipped. So I was actually intending on attacking that tower. That's probably what I'm looking for. Probably isn't as well. One way or the other, we'll find out. How frustrating. No, don't fall down there. You'll take unreasonable falling damage because it's Dark Souls 2. The game with falling damage that, quite frankly, is just absurd beyond all measure. Fucking shut up. Right, I want to find out what this is. Come on. Hurry up. Just give it to me. Hurry up. Alluring skull. Could have known. Well, it's none of these. When you said Archer Towers, this is what I had in my mind. So, what the hell are you referring to? Is the question of the day. Fuck off. When you mention the main rooms leading to Strayed, that makes me think of where the key could be acquired in Scholar of the First Sin. Yeah, you see, what you're describing, Venetia, is where I think it appears in Scholar of the First Sin. This is where I thought it was going to be, but it wasn't. It ended up being a human effigy, not the key. So let's go to where I think you're referring to. Come on. So, behind him, right, on this body, well, that was a human effigy. So that's where I was expecting it to be. So if it's not there, where is it? Is the question. See, I wouldn't mind having this confusion if Scholar of the First Sin were decent. But it wasn't. It was shit. So, my memories of the original version are being impacted because of a shit version of the game. And that's dumb. That's really dumb. The key's not around here. Fuck off. The illusory wall to the balcony. It's like a game of charades at this point. What I'm going to do is actually engage Google to find out, because this is just a waste of time. I'm not blaming you personally for it, I'm just saying that wandering around looking for it like this is not worthwhile, so I'm just going to look. Pastel key location. Not Scholar of the First Sin, but the actual fucking original game. Alright. Aha. In the original version, you need to kill the Belfry Gargoyles in order to get it. And that's nasty. That's really nasty. Because the Belfry Gargoyles, in my opinion, are actually a little harder to kill than the Lost Sinner. Which maybe sounds excessive, but it's true, in my opinion. I consider the Belfry Gargoyles to be a lot less fair than the Lost Sinner. I'm going to try and take him on without lighting the arena, or the confrontation area. The reason being that I can summon Lucatiel for that fight, and she may assist in an effective way. What I will do before trying that out, though, is I will actually level up with my 11,000 souls. Yeah. The hitbox, or just not just the hitbox, but the general range of the mace is going to make it a lot harder, I agree, but I have a taste for the souls that I'm going to get in the early game from killing the Lost Sinner at this point, so I'm going to give it a try. I can put some points into strength, which may help a little bit, and we're going to see how that helps. We now have 635 souls, which is a much more appropriate amount to have stuck in the boss room with the Lost Sinner. In other words, an amount to just leave there. It doesn't have to be picked up again. Alright, after all that business, I now know that I'm not going to bother killing the fucking Belfry gargoyles. Don't have time for that. Do I get an invulnerability period when I pull this? No, I don't, of course not. It's Dark Souls 2. Why did I even assume? Backstab, please, thank you. How are you going? Oh, give it a rest. Could have guessed. Could have guessed. You know what's so frustrating about that? I'm now going to have to use another human effigy to summon Lucatiel, because I did something that you should only ever do if it's your first time playing a Souls game, quite frankly. I mean, that is a beginner's mistake. Facing the edge of a drop while shielding an attack from an enemy. I mean, what a joke. Whatever. The monster at the bottom is a one-time spawn, yes. But right now I just don't want to deal with him. I don't want to harm Lucatiel in the process of killing him. And... oh, that's right, I still need a flame butterfly after all that, so I'm wasting my time. I'm glad I remembered that. So a flame butterfly is required. No, I don't need one because I'm not lighting the fucking area. Fine. Let's actually fucking make an attempt to kill the Lost Sinner already, so that I can find out just how strong he is in relation to my character. And, yeah. That should do us. I don't think it's an experience that I will regret. This is the point. I'm not putting all my chips in and setting myself up for bitter failure, or setting myself up for a terrible outcome in the event that I do fail. The only downside is that I'm spending time. You know, I would have ended up wasting time if it did fail. So, let's see how we do. I know for certain that Lucatiel cannot solo the Lost Sinner. I know it to be true. I have fought the Lost Sinner with Lucatiel at my side, with a better loadout than this, and Lucatiel hasn't survived the fight. So it means that I can't just hang back and let Lucatiel deal the damage. It is very important that I contribute. So we're going to do that. Lucatiel, please don't do that. Get over here. I need you. Apparently the Lost Sinner is female, and I didn't know that. If you're wondering why I didn't know that, it appertains to the fact that I really don't care about the lore. But it's true. I focus on the gameplay. But it's good to know that it's female. Let's give it a try. Lightning Spear is only going to be somewhat effective, because obviously my targeting range is going to be limited. Ew. There's something crawl. No. Ew. There are some sirens outside. Hopefully you can't hear them. I think the Lost Sinner has a sword that you can forge as well. Can't remember how it is though. I think I'm correct. Look at the fucking... Look, did you see how long that hitbox lasted? I can't believe it. I'm actually disgusted. I can't fucking target this female. Actually can't fucking target you. It's ridiculous. Oh, look at the damage. Awful. And apparently I got caught in that attack for some reason. Oh my god, this is awful. This is truly terrible. There's something about this sword that just seems to... Its mere existence will hurt you, apparently. I don't need to target you in order to succeed here. That is a fact, but... I really don't like your sword. Lucatiel is not doing fucking anything. Lucatiel is standing there taking hits, which is what I'm doing as well, but... You know, she's supposed to be useful and helpful, okay? So I'm not happy about it. It seems like this is a doable boss fight. Having Lucatiel here as something of a distraction is helpful. But at the moment she's just sponging hits, which is not going to allow me to kill this boss. Or at least that on its own will not help. Lucatiel, can't you use your shield? You haven't even raised it yet. You just fucking stand there taking it. Which maybe is an attractive quality in a mate, but not in a warrior. So stop doing that. And she's fucking dead. Useless. What a terribly useless companion you are in this confrontation. I honestly think I can do the rest on my own, as long as I'm paying attention. Except for the fact that that sword just really has this incredible prolonged hitbox, which is annoying. You're gonna relocate, aren't you? Fucking mace is only making this harder. If I can do this with a mace, to be honest, I can do anything. Oh, I forgot about the thrust. What was that? What was that? I didn't know about that attack. I've never actually brought that on before. I didn't know that that existed. Awful. Don't stop it. Ugh, I hate you. Can I get an attack out before you move? No, I can't. Again, the limited range of the mace is only making this harder. But in a big way. Not in a small way, not in a, oh, I'm slightly worse off for having the mace. No, it's really hurting me. I just need to pay attention. Oh, and another attack. Fuck, I was not expecting two. Just pay attention, Doomlink, and you can get through it. Oh! You are just not even yeah, fine. Fine. This is, quite frankly, evidence that if Lucatiel were slightly more than useless, I would actually be able to succeed. I can try that again, to be honest. I mean, I'll stop it. Let me just sit here and have a drink. Okay, so the bottom line is that A, Lucatiel's fucking useless in that fight, and B, my mace is fucking useless in that fight. If it weren't for those two, just those two aspects working against me, I'd be doing perfectly fine against this boss. But anyway, it's the pets. I'm so sick of this mace. Can't wait to change it. I really look forward to that. I attempted to do a run attack. I pressed and held the fucking circle button and my character was like, oh, I can't run right now. I feel fatigued. Fuck you. I need some more... No, I need more life gems for this. Alright, understood. Point taken. I'll come back later. And I'll do Huntsman's Corpse. Fuck this place. What a joke. Imagine being able to shoot that many... Actually, no, I think I had 2 of them shooting me there. Never mind. I thought it was 1 person. I was going to say, how can you shoot me that frequently with a heavy crossbow? The whole point of a heavy crossbow is that it takes longer to reload. Well, I was being shot by 2 of them. Very well. Let's go to things betwixt and hopefully... No, I don't think I have anything to consume to give me souls. Because I do need, I think, 1,500 to gain access to Huntsman's Corpse. This is probably not enough. 1,000, that'd be right. Alright, let's go back to the tower apart. No, the salt fort. And or kill those stupid archers, just to get back at them and get some souls. Yeah, fuck you guys. Look how look how quickly he can reload. And look how well they track you. I'm gonna die. If I don't fucking heal, I'm gonna die. So do that now, please. Seriously. I hate you guys. You know that? Pricks. Alright. I hope I've got enough souls. I've got 1,594. I believe that's all I require. What do you mean, ogres of Tutorial Zone? No. I killed the one that gives me the stone ring, but I didn't kill the 2 that are in front of the gender change coffin. Does that help in some way? Anyway. I will find out soon, I would imagine. In the meantime, I will open the pathway. Oh, 1,000 each. That's actually not too bad. It's a good recommendation. Let me see if I'm right about the cost. It's 2,000! Fuck you. Ugh. How annoying is that? Why did I remember it to be 1,500? That was awfully close to 2,000. But I was wrong, so... I'm not sure what's going on there. Let's go back to where I just was. Yeah, Scholar of the First Sin is strangely easy. If you're wondering whether or not I would bother, I actually don't care if I die, like, that's fine. What I don't like about that is that, well, it almost tempts me to try again with the Lost Sinner. Because if I'm going to use a human effigy to recover my health, I may as well use that to fight the Lost Sinner. Should I do it? I actually don't know. You motherfucker. How do you reload so quickly with that thing? Or rechamber, whatever you want to call it. I guess reload, actually. Rechamber assumes that you've got another one in the chamber. There is no chamber. It's literally a bolt on a fucking rail, or whatever you would call it. Anyway, what am I doing? Probably not attempting to fight the Lost Sinner. I need to try to resist the temptation. It's just annoying because first attempt, and quite frankly, with Lucatiel doing nothing of worth except for being a distraction, I probably got through 80 to 85% of the Lost Sinner's health, so, you know, I feel like it's doable. But I suppose I should just try to level up a little bit more, and then it'll just be that little bit more easy, or a little bit easier, to kill the Lost Sinner next time I try.
Just speak up, blah blah blah.
Alright. Go ahead. Yes, no, I certainly don't need to move the path again. Certainly not. I have Homewood. But I would be making a great mistake to use it now. I instead need to rest at this bonfire up ahead. As for whether or not I want the rest of the Archdrake set, obviously I've got the Archdrake robes right now. I don't know, probably not. In Dark Souls 2, I usually go for fashion. In fact, Souls in general, I usually go for fashion over defense. I find defense to be important, but still, fashion is strangely more important. I'm all about the fashion Souls, as they say. But, anyway. I feel like I was going to do something after resting at that bonfire, I'm not sure. Oh, we're actually making our way to the Iron Keep, strangely. So we've got... Oh, I forgot the name of the area that comes after this one. The one with the windmills. Forgot it now. Earthen Peak, that's right. Well, we're coming up to Earthen Peak. And quite frankly, that area is easy to get through as well, so... Yeah. Suppose I could just make my way there. Alright. Yes, I know all about you, except I've gone and done the same thing again, raised my shield while standing next to a drop. Fuck off. Yes, I understand that you want my attention. Oh, right, I need to spend half an hour drinking an Estus flask before you do that. Haha, give me a moment. Or before I do anything. Stop running around me, just give it a rest. Get a life. Do us. Oh, of course. A fucking exit that's not actually an exit. Very cute game, very cute. Just what I'd expect of you. Oh, and of course, no flinch whatsoever from that, in spite of the fact that I'm using the Stone Ring. Stone Ring, strong attack with the mace, didn't interrupt shit. Nothing whatsoever. He just continued with that attack. I mean, look at what he's wearing. Look at what he's wearing. Look at what I'm swinging at him, and look at this ring. And you're going to tell me that that didn't flinch his fucking attack. Unbelievable. What am I supposed to say? Oh, that's fair. That's definitely not what's going to be coming out of my mouth. Not genuinely. Alright, how do I get to the other side? I think I'll go over here. Is that right? Probably, yeah. Alright. This is all well and good, but I really don't care about this part of the area. This might be helpful, I don't remember. Poison Moss, Life Gem. No, not really. I can use the Life Gem with the assurance that I didn't actually waste one completely. Alright. He'll come through this, I remember. Hurry up. It's sort of an ambush. We've got Flame Butterfly, my first Flame Butterfly. Great. No. Fall off the edge. Yeah. That's what I was going for. I got him back. Well, his friend killed me in a similar way. Well, he didn't kill me, but he definitely threw me off a ledge. Alright. Bonfire is lit. And I suppose I'll rest at it. Why not? Poison Moss is important. But I've only got one, sadly. The guy with the torches over there. If you really need torches, you can grind them off this guy, okay. Or am I wrong? Maybe he doesn't always drop them. Okay. Just wanted to see how much damage that was dealing. What am I doing? Oh, fucking hell, no. Use the mace, man. That seemed fairly painful. Almost feel sorry for him. But I don't like you, so I don't really feel all that sorry. I will not be fighting the Executioner's Chariot, in case anyone wanted to know. I have no desire to do that. Got a Morning Star, that might actually be better than what I have equipped now. It doesn't fix the limited range, but... Oh no, it's actually worse. Okay. Well, hold on. Yeah, B scaling and higher. Yeah, that's fine. I want to drop into here, I think, to get something of importance. Can't remember what it is, but I remember it being, again, as I say, something of importance. It's not that, it's something else. It's Soul Spear. So that's only something of importance for magic builds, which this is not. So, that's all well and good, but I'm going to now move on to bigger and better things. Such as finding the lever to lower that bridge over there. Waiting until the fucking rapture. When you do a running attack one-handed with this mace. It's so slow. Oh god, I'm gonna get hit by you before I can pull this. Oh, apparently I'll still get hit, but it won't cancel the animation. He just stood there, either bewildered or exceptionally disappointed by the fact that he couldn't prevent me from actually pulling that lever. Which was funny. Anyway. Yes, I will continue. I don't think I can actually access the bonfire yet. I think I need to get a key. Am I correct? Yes, I am. That's fine. Apparently I'm making you want to speedrun Dark Souls 2. Very well. I don't know if that's because I'm going through it unnecessarily quickly. Like not slowly running through it. Or slowly progressing through it. Or if it's just reminding you of a thing that you like to do. And that's just from me playing the game. I pressed the fucking button that actually relates to attacking. You know, it's called R1, and I pressed it. And the game did nothing. My shield wasn't raised, my character was doing nothing, and I pressed R1 and it did nothing when I pressed it. Okay? Now that's very frustrating. I like to push you off the edge. Can I do that? Yeah. Goodbye. Motherfucker. The key, I believe, is just up here. Am I being invaded by anyone? Oh, let's get this crystalism. Or not. Let's not bother. I'm picking up this key and I'm retreating. Oh no, that's not it. Okay. Where's the fucking key? Don't tell me I've forgotten where it is again. Maybe that Scholar of the First Sin. I hate that fucking version of the game. Rewriting my memories of Dark Souls 2. Piece of shit. Maybe it drops from the invading spirit. I don't know. Is there an invading spirit in the original version? I can't remember. So, let's just continue in this direction and hope a fucking key materializes before me. Seriously. Maybe it's in the room with the enemies in it, which is very unspecific, but I'll tell you what I mean in a moment. Let's find out. I'd say that's it. Yeah, Undead Lockaway key, I fucking knew it. I'd completely forgotten that it was here. I'm quite sure that I'm correct that it changed locations to where I thought it was in Scholar of the First Sin. So, there you go. Undead Lockaway key, I will go there. I think it's worthwhile. The temptation is to go and fight the boss, but I'm not going to do it. It's not a difficult boss, but still. I'd rather be a bit more sensible with how I'm playing the game. Yes, well that's what I meant, A-Gaming, when I said the room with the enemies in it. As unclear and abstract as that is. Or I guess just unspecific. It's not abstract, it's just unclear. Because a lot of things like that exist, but... Yeah, I'm not going to talk to that guy, I've got no particular reason to do so. Alright, there's the key. Acquired. Now let's go and try fighting this boss. With reduced health, by the way, because I'm not using human effigy just yet. Knock off Patches the hyena. Doesn't Patches exist here? Maybe he doesn't. Admittedly, I can't remember him, so... No, Pate is the Patch's equivalent. Isn't that right? Yeah, Pate is the Patch's equivalent. Don't know why you're calling him knockoff Patches. Oh my god, who has the fucking patience for this? Certainly not me. Certainly not me. Nope, says A Gaming. You're wrong, actually. Pate also starts with P. Pate tricks you into putting you into a trap, and yeah, so actually Pate is the Patch's equivalent. This guy doesn't trick you at any point, does he? This guy doesn't even resemble Patches at all. But at least Pate, mild-mannered Pate, is, you know, Pate is similar to Patches, I guess. Anyway, I've honestly had enough. I think I'm going to finish the live stream here. I've gone for over 2 hours, so I've fulfilled the minimum requirement that I've set for myself for a Souls live stream, or pretty much for any live stream that I do. I thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time I'm doing Dark Souls 2. This has been fun, I guess. But, yeah, I didn't really lose many souls there. Or I don't have many sitting on that bloodstain. But in the next recording we will go and take on the Skeleton Lord boss, and just continue to Earthen Peak and do all of that. I don't really need to kill the Lost Sinner immediately. I can wait. But again, I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time I'm recording Dark Souls 2 or anything else you'd like to watch that I typically record. Bye bye for now.